Jay-Z.
Okay, I don't.
We waited a long time. This is like top of the episode.
We literally talked about Hove and didn't bring it up.
H to the OV.
Jay-Z got a lawsuit brought against him, alleging that he and Diddy and an unnamed woman engaged in some inappropriate acts with the underage girl back in 2007, something in the early 2000s, basically. And yeah, it's serious. It's a real thing. And Jay-Z obviously dropped a statement instantaneously, basically saying that he's not gonna like settle or anything like that. He's gonna take this to court and intends to show these people just how powerful he is, or whatever his last little bar was. But
he said that.
Yeah, it was the. Did you read the statement?
No.
Yeah, he put out a whole thing immediately, just kind of being like, "This is unserious. This is crazy. These people are trying to like chase down money, and I'm not gonna let it happen. And putting this shit out against me is crazy. And you're gonna see what we could really do." But yeah, I don't think this is anything to play with. And I think that as we've seen a lot this year, a lot of very powerful people have done some very bad things. And to put anything past anyone without really, really taking this stuff seriously and acknowledging it and acknowledging the gravity of the situation would be very immature. So you hate to see it, and like obviously like we fuck with Ho's music, but I don't know this nigga personally. So we'll see, and you hope it's not true, because to have anyone go through that is crazy.
Love how Miles is like distancing himself from Hove.
I know.
I don't know him personally, but
I mean, because I fuck with his music, but I can't vouch for this nigga, who this nigga is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what you said at the end is kind of how I feel. Just praying it's not true.
Yeah.
Just really, really praying, not only just for what Hove means to me, which I think is a fraction of what he means to hip hop, especially to older hip hop fans. If this is true, I think it's gonna do some serious damage. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, it would do career-ending damage.
But I mean to the culture, not just to Jay-Z.
I don't think it would do it. Now, again, I think we addressed everything perfectly. So, like, big picture life shit, this is a bad deal. If we're just zooming in on hip hop, it sucks and it's terrible. But I think that Harvey Weinstein was a part of some excellent films, like legendary films.
Oh, this is where we're going.
No, but I'm saying like, that didn't destroy the film industry. Niggas just know people are weird. I think Diddy was a very big fixture in hip hop and in music and means something. And when he fell, like, it sucks, but hip hop is still hip hop, and you just kind of like the people take their mask off and you kind of just see for people for what they truly are. But I don't think it's gonna like destroy hip hop.
It's difficult though. I see what you're saying, but I disagree, because it definitely feels like whenever there's a prominent figure, especially in like black culture and especially in hip hop, feels like there's always like a caveat or like an asterisk by their legacy because of something like this. And I don't know. I think it would do a lot of damage.
Like who?
Well, real Diddy was like a pretty big executive.
I think it's him and Diddy, but him and Diddy was close. So besides him,
Russell Simmons was a huge executive.
This is true.
L.A. Reid was a huge executive.
This is true.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly was
that's
one of the biggest R&B stars.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
But you could say the same thing about rock stars and people in others.
Yeah, but people are overly critical.
I think music.
And it doesn't have the same effect when it's rock stars.
Why?
Because they're white. I'm saying it's wrong. I'm like, Led Zeppelin is historically like some of the worst people.
Yeah,
like underage girls.
Exactly.
Rape,
so what
sexual
are we doing?
assault.
So what are we doing? So what's the difference?
But they don't get the same treatment as R. Kelly.
Bro, hip hop.
That's a fact.
That's just a fact.
They don't get the same treatment just because of time. And like when it is, like it's more recent with social media, all that shit. But their shit happened so long ago that they're not even really part of the conversation. Like niggas aren't talking about them.
I mean, Rolling Stone or Apple Music still put them in the top 10 albums ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or top 20.
Yeah, but
Like-
but they also know that history isn't talked about. Not to say again like that it's right, but that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that in a very long time in the future, like it's going to be looked at in a similar way with hip hop. But hip hop is a very new genre still. It's in its it's not in its infancy, but we're compared to other shit, So I think that this shit hits harder and sucks, but it happened to all of them. And when it happened to them, there was just no social media to talk about it. And now we're able to have the discussion and everything's public and all that, which sucks, but you can't change that,
Yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens. I say what I said because we've seen it happen before, but I think if you polled hip hop fans for who the greatest rapper of all time, the majority would say Jay-Z.
Yeah.
I think he is, if we have to have one right answer for the best rapper to ever live, I do think it's Jay-Z.
I agree.
Jay-Z was the first rapper to ever run a record label. He pretty much built the path from rap superstar to music mogul, executive, other business ventures.
Yeah.
Basically wrote the blueprint
He's the biggest.
for making money in this shit too.
Yeah.
And I think he's just such a positive role model from like the way that he's talked about his hustle, turning his life around, coming up the way he did, but then like figuring out how to get money in other ways, being a businessman, always talking about ownership, and also like sharing that knowledge. Yeah. I just see him as such a role model in this culture. And so I think to have that be all taken away, I think it'd be a huge hit.
I just think that I've always, and maybe this is again my perspective, but I just you can never put someone on a pedestal. And so I think that there's always bad things associated with everyone. And I think that what really gets people is power and money. And I think Jay-Z has always preached, I want money. I'm a businessman, even more so than the rap shit, I think, honestly. I think that a big thing about who Jay-Z is, aside from him obviously making some great albums and music, is how he's kind of been very a front-facing businessman. And that's been the brand for a very long time, and the get money shit and all that. So I think that it's a cautionary tale because it's beautiful to see someone kind of live out that American dream and go from rags to riches. But the same way that a lot of drug dealers, and if you watch drug dealing movies, they come from nothing and they start to go crazy and get everything. And then the power and the greed takes over and leads to their ultimate downfall. So like this is an age-old tale. And yeah, it sucks that it's in our community, but this is what life is. And this is how it goes. And Jay-Z he's a drug dealer. Like he's never been to say Jay-Z was ever a good person, I think he's done great things, but I don't know him personally. So I can't put anything like this past him, and I can't expect more from him because why would you expect more than that from anyone you don't know? If a nigga you don't know does some foul, weird shit, it's like, well, how would I have known any better? Why would I expect them to do anything different if I didn't know you and I just met you? I've only heard what people say about you.
Yeah, that's all super fair. I think it will have consequences beyond just his own.
Niggas just need to get off the whole celebrity. I think that all of this shit that happens, and again, it sucks that it's in our community, but like celebrity needs to die. And celebrity or needs to shift and like the public perception of it, all of these people being propped up and like people being envious of these lifestyles and who they are and aspiring to be like these people. It's like, what are you aspiring to really be?
Like talk about lessons they've learned from like that music.
And do those lessons still stand?
I don't know.
Why would they not?
Because the deliverer of the lesson is their moralities in question.
He's a bad person, but that doesn't mean he's a bad businessman. You're talking about game, bro. You can't associate those two things. Just because he's a bad person doesn't mean he's not speaking facts on business in the music industry.
Yeah.
You take it for what it is and you move on. You don't gotta like put like, bro.
But you have to think about things more because then do you take anything that he says about like personal relationships in music that you might have found insightful? Can you take that like for something that's beneficial, or is that thrown out the window?
Bro, Joe said this on the podcast. He goes up to Jay-Z, and if you all know the story about them Pump It Up, Joe Budden's record, Jay-Z obviously stole it, or didn't steal it, but took the beat, did a bigger song and dissed Joe on the record. And then Joe addresses it to him in person and talks about it, and he's like, so what? Like
Yeah.
Hove been an asshole, bro.
Yeah.
Like so, how he's dealt with people has been how you deal with people as a businessman or as a drug dealer. Very blunt, not very personal, but it's how you get results. So like, this nigga's a dickhead, and it works. And if you wanted to learn that and acquire that and move like that, then cool. Nothing should change. But you can't act like you know him.
Okay.
But yeah,
What's your overall point?
I don't think that this matters, like in terms of like his legacy and like devaluing what he was saying in the music. Because Spencer's like, you can't really like, his lessons don't stand up, and the game that he was spitting in the music doesn't mean as much now. I think it still does.
I think
Definitely hurts his legacy. I see what you mean by the music, but I think it all kind of works in tandem.
It does hurt his legacy.
So, but you just said that
It doesn't change the music to me, but it does hurt his legacy as like, because he was a fixture in the community,
Right.
and was someone that a bunch of people looked up to, and now people aren't going to look up to him the same way.
I think people like associate those in tandem. I understand your point of saying people shouldn't, but I think naturally, like, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe.
Look at what's happening with Drake right now,
but then it goes
with
to like,
no actual charges or anything.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean? Like, it's literally affecting his sales.
and he was still my number one artist. So I guess for me, it's like, I'm not gonna go, but like Jay-Z's not in my top 10. So I'm already not slapping it crazy, but like, you know, I like the nigga's music, and up until some charges come out against him and like it's all settled and done, and like he's like locked in, I'm probably gonna like, if I want to slap a song, I don't think it's a bad thing to slap a song. If it's confirmed that he does it, then maybe that changes things.
Miles does listen to R. Kelly a lot, so like,
That's a
get
crazy
it.
thing to put on me. That's just not a fact.
You
don't-
definitely do. You
That's a
only
fact.
listen to R. Kelly and Tory
I don't-
Lanez
I don't
on
listen to
SoundCloud.
R. Kelly at
You
all.
only listen to him on SoundCloud.
I'm
You told
not
us.
playing
You
R.
told us
Kelly.
this.
I'm not
you
playing
won't.
R.
You won't let
Kelly.
it get in your DSP data.
I'm not playing R.
And you also
Kelly.
don't want to funnel streams
I'm
and
not
provide
playing R.
money.
Kelly.
But just on
That's
SoundCloud.
a crazy thing to say.
You be playing a lot of R.
That's
Kelly
a
on
wild thing to
SoundCloud.
say. That's not true.
40% of the time I get in your car.
This is not true. This is not true.
to be honest, if I was an avid R. Kelly listener, I wouldn't care. I would just say it. I don't listen to R. Kelly.
I'm not.
I
I
never
don't.
really
And I
have.
don't listen to R. Kelly.
And it's not because of anything that happened. It's literally just on some like that. I wasn't raised on it, so why would I listen to? But
Yeah.
you do. So you just
I don't
stand on
play
that.
R. Kelly like that.
You literally do.
I don't.
Hip hop takes a hit if Hov goes down.
sure.
That's just a fact.
for sure.
Hip hop takes a hit, but
Hip hop
it's
takes
not
a
gonna
hit
kill it.
in the boardrooms too.
Yeah.
In the boardrooms,
Like a
for
major
sure.
hit.
For sure. And how frequently and how forcefully people push like putting hip hop artists on platforms.
That's a thing. Now that
1000%.
Now that is an angle. I think that matters, and I think that we're gonna need new leadership. Something has to. Hip hop already, I think, was in not a bad place, but I think we need some of the young people to take more prominent roles, both with the music that they're dropping and their position in society, maybe. So the door's open out of necessity now. Someone's got to do something. Someone really, really has to step up and do something. I think Kendrick is transitioning into a really dope thing.